Rock and roll would not be the same without the guitar. That instrument, with its strings and amplifiers, has been the soul of countless songs. But there are some solos that not only defined a song, but marked a before and after in the history of music. Today, we are going to talk about 10 guitar solos that marked the history of rock. Those moments when the guitarist left everything on the track and created something we will never forget. So grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and get ready for a journey through some of the most iconic solos of all time. Before we start this video, remember to subscribe and like us. Let's start with a solo that is practically a legend, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Jimmy Page, the wizard behind the guitar, created a solo that is more than music. It is an experience. The solo of Stairway to Heaven is not fast or full of technical tricks, but it has something that makes it special. It is emotional, epic, and full of feeling. Every note seems to tell a story, and when that climax comes, it's impossible not to feel chills. This solo is not only one of the most famous in history, but it is also a perfect example of how technique should serve emotion, and not the other way around. But if we talk about technique and emotion combined, we can't forget Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb. David Gilmour, the genius behind this solo, showed us that sometimes less is more. The solo on Comfortably Numb is a masterpiece of patience and control. Every note is perfectly placed, every bend, every vibrato has a purpose. And that moment when the guitar seems to cry is simply magical. This solo is not only one of the most emotional in history, but it is also a lesson on how to transmit feelings through 6 strings. Now, let's talk about speed and virtuosity. Van Halen's Eruption is not a solo within a song, it's a declaration of principles. Eddie Van Halen revolutionized guitar playing with this track. With his tapping technique, his bends, and his overflowing energy, Eddie showed us that the guitar could be an instrument of pure adrenaline. Eruption is short, but its impact was huge. It changed the way guitarists saw their instrument and opened the doors to a new era of rock. And if we talk about impact, we can't leave out Hotel California by Eagles. Don Felder and Joe Walsh's double solo at the end of the song is simply iconic. It's a journey back and forth between 2 guitars that converse, that complement each other, that tell a story. The solo on Hotel California is melodic, soulful, and perfectly structured. It is one of those solos that, even if you listen to it 1,000 times, never loses its magic. But not everything is classic rock. In the 80s, a young man named Slash left us one of the most memorable solos in history with Sweet Child O' Mine by Guns N' Roses. This solo is pure attitude. From that first bend that grabs you to the energetic ending, Slash showed us that he could combine technique and feeling like no one else. The solo on Sweet Child O' Mine is so recognizable that just by listening to the first notes, you know what song it is. And if we talk about recognizability, the solo of AC/DC's Back in Black is impossible to ignore. Angus Young, with his Gibson SG, left us with a solo that is pure rock and roll. No complications, no pretensions, just powerful and energetic notes. The solo on Back in Black is a reminder that, sometimes, the simple is the most effective. If you are liking the video, remember to subscribe and leave your like. But it's not all speed and power. Sometimes a slow, soulful solo can be just as powerful. That's the case of November Rain by Guns N' Roses. Slash, once again, left us with a solo that is pure emotion. Played in a church, in the rain, in the music video, this solo is epic in every way. It's long, dramatic, and full of moments that make you hold your breath. And if we talk about dramatic solos, we can't forget Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Brian May, with his Red Special, left us a solo that is as theatrical as the song itself. The solo in Bohemian Rhapsody is short, but every note is charged with emotion. It's a perfect example of how a solo can be a key part of a song, elevating it to another level. But it's not all classic rock or hard rock. In the 90s, a new sound came to stay, and with it, a solo that marked a generation. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Kurt Cobain, with his Fender Mustang, left us a solo that is chaotic, full of distortion, and perfect for the spirit of the song. It's not technical, it's not clean, but it's exactly what that song needed. It's a reminder that sometimes imperfection is the most authentic thing. And we close this list with a solo that is pure legend, Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower. Although the song was written by Bob Dylan, it was Hendrix who took it to another level with his guitar. The solo of All Along the Watchtower is a round trip between blues and rock, full of bends, vibratos, and that magic touch that only Hendrix could give. It is a solo that not only marked the history of rock, but also redefined what could be done with a guitar. These solos are not only technically impressive, but they are also a reflection of their time. Each captured the spirit of an era, from the rebelliousness of the 60s to the angst of the 90s. They were created at times of social, cultural, and musical change, which is why they resonated so deeply with the audiences of their time. Today, decades later, they are still relevant because they speak to universal emotions. The desire for freedom, the search for identity, and the need to express oneself. They are more than music. They are historical documents that allow us to understand how rock became a global language. Moreover, these solos inspired generations of musicians. From the guitarists who tried to replicate Eddie Van Halen's tapping, to the youngsters who picked up a guitar for the first time after listening to Kurt Cobain. These solos have been a starting point for countless musical careers. And not only that, they have also influenced other genres, from metal to pop, proving that the power of a good solo transcends borders. In a world where music is constantly evolving, these solos remain a reminder that, in rock, the guitar is the strongest beating heart. But beyond virtuosity or fame, there is something that unites these solos: their ability to become the voice of the inexpressible. When Gilmour makes his guitar cry in Comfortably Numb, or Hendrix sets All Along the Watchtower on fire, it is not just notes that we hear, but the cry of a generation, the catharsis of an emotion that does not fit in words. In a world where music is consumed at scroll speed, these solos force us to stop. They are sonic monuments that defy time, reminding us that in the age of autotune and prefabricated beats, the electric guitar is still a weapon of rebellion and truth. These 10 solos are just a sampling of the power of the guitar in rock. Each in its own way changed the way we listen to and understand music. They are moments that remind us why we love rock and roll, because it is pure passion, energy, and creativity. So the next time you hear one of these solos, take a moment to appreciate the magic behind each note. Because these are not just solos, they are pieces of history. And as always, thanks for joining me on this musical journey. See you in the next video.